Hello everyone, Xylems here, welcome to Gwent. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different. Patch notes for patch 0.8.16 have been just released, and there are numerous changes, especially balance changes listed, so I thought we'd make a video about what these changes are, see how they may affect the existing decks, and yeah, generally discuss what has been changed and how it will affect the game. Alright, let's start with what we've already touched on in the previous video, which is changing the rarity of leaders from legendary to epic. Obviously that's a plus. We will be able to more easily gain new leaders, which will provide hopefully more variance in the decks being played. I've got one non-standard leader, King Bran, and what CD Projekt states is that players will receive 600 scraps for each non-standard leader that you have, so yeah, that's basically the difference in cost between crafting an epic card and a legendary card. So using these scraps, I thought I will probably craft one more leader for each faction, and we'll try making some new decks using those leaders. I will have to think about which leaders exactly I want to craft, so I will tell you when I'm done crafting why did I choose the specific leader and what we are gonna try to do with it. Okay, next there are some major changes to how Eredin works and monster ability, faction ability in general. One of the main changes, monster faction ability no longer allows you to keep gold cards on the board, which means no more Geralt pass for you or for anyone else for that matter. Another change is that the token Eredin, which is spawned when you use Eredin leader ability, will be a silver, not a golden card, so you can still do the Eredin pass play if you want to, but Eredin being now silver instead of gold will leave you vulnerable to various removal cards, so you are not so safe with keeping him on the board until the next round. With these changes comes the addition of immune to frost text for Eredin. It made sense even if he was a gold card, because he could have been turned silver by Dijkstra or by one of those Northern Realm cards, I think. Redanian something, I don't remember right now, which targets a card and turns it silver. So then he would be vulnerable to frost anyway, so yeah, that made sense adding that one text to this card anyway, but given that now he's silver, yeah, it makes even more sense. And he will also have the Wild Hunt category, like the remaining Wild Hunt cards, like Wild Hunt Riders or all those cards, yeah. Next changes are connected with how weather works, and these changes are actually intuitive, so weather will finally work in how you would expect it to work. Basically, whenever a weather effect is removed, currently before the patch, what is gonna happen is every non-gold unit is gonna be reset to its base strength, which makes sense if the unit has been damaged by weather and is at 1, for example, and was like 6, 7, whatever, but didn't make sense when you played a card, you got hit by weather, and then buffed this original unit that was now at 1 using some potions or some other cards that buff the strength, and not the base strength, mind you, the green buffs. You would lose that whenever weather was removed, so using clear skies or when weather subsided after the turn passed and you kept that unit on the board. So now only the red numbers, so whenever a unit is below its base strength, will be reset, and whenever the card is at a green strength, it will stay green and at that strength. What's interesting though, in the patch notes, only clear skies and weather being removed at the end of the round are mentioned, which is kind of weird, and I hope that Archgriffin, a monster card, will be consistent with that, because he also removes weather and resets the strength to the original value. So I hope it's just an omission, not that we will have inconsistent results playing Archgriffin versus removing weather any other way. Next changes, everyone's favorite, currently Philippa. Oops, it's double P, not double L. There are some major balance changes in the upcoming patch. First of all, she will no longer affect gold cards, so that's one of the major complaints that people had. So now the Northern Realms promote deck with promoting poor infantry or whatever else is more viable back again, because Philippa can't do anything to those guys anymore. Additionally, Philippa will now be a 12 strength card, which is also another nerf to the to her ability and to the card in general. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is not too harsh. Removing the ability to affect the gold cards is, in my opinion, good enough for Philippa as it is, especially considering that they also made her disloyal only, so you can't play her on your own side of the board in a pinch when you need some more strength. So if she stayed the way she is, so you can play her wherever you want, it would make a bit more sense her staying at 12 her being buffed to 12 strength, but now she will be kinda I don't know if she will be played anymore. I think a lot of people will just mill her, because yeah, that's too much of a nerf, at least for me. Okay, moving on. We've got Ice Giant change. Whenever Frost is removed, instead of being reset to its base strength, he will lose 7 strength. So yeah, whenever frost is removed, the effect is being reversed, so you won't lose buffs on the ice giant, but you also won't be able to heal the ice giant by removing frost. So yeah, makes sense for me, just reversing the ability. Next, some major changes in how reinforced trebuchets work. Currently, all copies of the reinforced trebuchet gain 1 strength whenever reinforced trebuchet is being played, and every 2 turns reinforced trebuchet deals 2 damage to a random non-gold card on the opponent's side of the board, which is very strong, and it's one of the variants of promote decks. Northern Realm decks is running reinforced trebuchets, buffing them really high and keeping them on the board with Adrenaline Rush. And how this card is gonna change after the patch. First of all, it's gonna be buffed to 5 strength, but at the same time it will lose the ability to buff other copies of the card in the deck, and the strength of the attack will be decreased from 2 to 1. So yeah, the card's gonna be a little bit stronger in and of itself, but will lose some high buffing possibilities with this effect, and will hurt the opponent less than currently. Because as it stands, if you were unable to remove 3 or 4 copies of the reinforced trebuchets, you were being hit by 6-8 damage every 2 turns, which is quite devastating. So yeah, I think it's a fine balance change, but it may decrease the number of reinforced trebuchet promote decks being played. So the card's gonna be a little bit worse, but in its current form, I think it was a bit too strong, so yeah, made sense they changed it. Another change, Tordarok Shieldsmith gains 1 strength, but loses 2 strength on the buff. So that's mainly important for those who play Skellige decks with shield bearers, skirmishers, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. So currently it's a popular tactic to play skirmishers, buff them with Tordarok Shieldsmith. They retain the buff when they get to the graveyard, and they get buffed even more when they are pulled back from the graveyard, so yeah. Kind of a balance change. I don't think it will affect the frequency of Tordarok Shieldsmith being played. Next we've got a slight nerf to Sarah. She gains currently 4 strength whenever any weather card is being played. Now she will gain only 3, so a slight nerf, but I don't think it will affect the card too much. Another change, Nature's Gift won't copy gold cards. So any special gold card, you can't copy it with nature's gift anymore. So which would be that Ragnarok, and what else? Seems like it would only be a change to Ragnarok. So yeah. Okay. I don't think it changes much, but alright. Another change in how medics work. So field medic and Priestess of Freya gain a medic category, so like Wild Hunt or Breedable or Event Ambush texts like that. And they won't be able to play any other medic cards from the graveyard. So you won't be able to chain Priestess of Freya, you won't be able to chain field medics. Now, I've got some mixed feelings about this. I don't know if it's a really necessary change. I mean, maybe in case of Priestesses of Freya, because you can actually choose which card you want to play from the graveyard. So if you play 3 of them, you've used up 2, you play another one, it only makes sense to first play the remaining Priestesses of Freya, and with the last one pulled from the graveyard, play the card that you actually want to resurrect. So maybe it would actually make sense in case of Priestess of Freya. In case of Field Medic, she or he, I don't know which one is the medic, but in case of Field Medic, this card resurrects a random card, so I feel like this limitation is not as necessary as in case of Priestess of Freya, because if you get lucky and pull Field Medic from the graveyard, then yeah, it's your luck, I think. But maybe they want to decrease the RNG factor of the game. So yeah, that's the change. Another change, Queen's Guard no longer increases strength of Ceres temporarily, so it's not a green buff, it's a buff to a base strength. So if she goes to graveyard, she gets killed, she gets removed at the end of the round, and you pull her back from the graveyard, she keeps that buff. Considering that you can play Queen's Guard multiple times, it made sense that Ceres would also keep the buff. So yeah, I think that's a good, sensible change. Another change regarding special or event cards. Elven Mercenary, one of our favorites from the Chef's special, can no longer play gold cards. So again, I think that's only Ragnarok that she could have played. So yeah, minor change. I don't think anyone really played Ragnarok with a deck that contains Elven Mercenary, but if you did, you can do that anymore when the patch hits. We've got some changes to Priscilla. Instead of playing 2 random cards, she pulls 2 from the deck and allows you to choose 1 to play. So she was really strong right now. Now it's still a decent card. You can still get a lot of value from her, but it's not as crazy as it was or as it is right now. So again, I've got her. I like playing in decks with her, but yeah, I think it's a sensible change and it will make her a bit more fair. If you don't have bad cards in your deck, then playing 2 random units always was good. So next change, Regis. The token Higher Vampire is being changed. He is now silver, not gold, so you have more ways of dealing with him, and he is not a 10, he's an 8. So some basic changes, but will make the card a little bit less strong. In my opinion, it's a good change. I haven't really encountered decks with Regis myself, but I've heard people complaining, and yeah, I can agree. 6 that spawns a 10 gold card is a bit much, I think. So I'm glad they changed it. We've got a small buff for the Meridian Bomb. It will now reset the gold units that were somehow damaged, which actually isn't as important right now anymore, I think, since they've changed how Philippa works, and since she can't affect gold cards, then having the Meridian Bomb preset gold cards as well is not as important. Because previously, or currently as it is, this change alone would make the Meridian Bomb some kind of counterplay for Philippa. But right now there aren't that many important cards that can damage gold cards anymore. So I mean, trees can do it for sure, but it's only for strength. I don't know. It's a buff for the Meridian Bomb, of course, but with the Philippa nerf, I don't feel it's as significant as it could have been. Next, we've got a change to Redanian Elite. Whenever 3 or more copies of this unit are present on a row, add 2 strength to them and convert them to gold. And as it turns out, I didn't know that, but apparently it worked whenever Redanian Elite was present on either side of the board. So if there were 3 copies on the board total in Siege row, then Redanian Elite would convert to gold, which is really counterintuitive and didn't really make sense. So yeah, that's a change that makes the Redanian Elite make sense now. I assume that's how it worked initially, but apparently it did not, so I'm glad they changed it. We've got some slight buff to Zigdrifa. I still can't pronounce it properly. Zigdrifa. Do you read it? The first R? I don't know. Anyway, she will not be a 1 strength card, she will be a 2 strength card. So yeah, a slight buff, a bit less vulnerable to being killed immediately. Restoration gets a slight buff. It will not only restore your unit from the graveyard, it will also give it +2 buff. Yeah, so nothing wrong about that, I think. Just a slight buff, nothing more. 2 strength is not all that much. Now, again, changes to how cards interact with gold cards. Draug will no longer destroy non-gold, or rather gold cards. So we've got another unit that won't be able to counteract the opponent playing gold cards. We've got a slight buff for the fireball trap. Currently, whenever it's revealed and it kills the unit that triggered it, it spawns 2 Commando Neophyte on the opponent's side of the board. Or our side of the board, actually. After the patch, it will spawn 1 Commando Neophyte, regardless of whether the target was destroyed or not. And it's not mentioned in the patch notes, but I assume it will still spawn 2 Commando Neophyte when the target gets destroyed. So if that's the case, that's a slight buff for the card. If not, then it's kind of sideways change, I think. Not much better, but also not much worse. Ooh, the next change is something I'm excited about. It's a mistake that I made in the last video. The Uncrate Raider, which I thought will trigger buffs on Pirate Captain whenever you discard a unit, he gains 3 strength, or on War Longships, which deal 2 damage whenever you discard or destroy a unit on your side. Now the Raider will actually trigger those, so will actually work the way I thought it works right now. So he will still be played, but the effects of cards waiting for the discard event will actually trigger now. So our previous deck may be a bit more viable after the patch. We might try it again. What else we've got here? Returning a card to your hand from the battlefield now clears all effect, even countdown. So another change to a problem I wasn't even aware of. So I assume what it means is if, for example, Reinforced Trebuchet was returned to the hand when it was on 1 turn countdown and not 2, then currently before the patch, if you played it, it would start from 1, and now it will also start from 2. Yeah, that's how I understand it. Another change: Saskia will gain a dragon category. Spoiler alert, too late. Yeah, I don't know what this affects exactly. I don't remember which cards, if there are any, that interact with dragons being played or being present in the deck. Again, I don't have all the cards, I didn't read all the abilities, but I'm not sure if there are any yet, so maybe in the future. Elf category added to several units, not specified which. Weather now affects ambush cards after they are revealed, so another change that I wasn't aware of being a problem. That actually seems like a bug fix more than a balance change, but whenever ambush card is being revealed and weather is in play, then it will get affected anyway. So yeah, makes sense. Again, we've got a change to how Oakfist works. Again, something that seems more like a bug fix than a ability change, but he will return to your hand even if there are no cards on the board after 5 turns. Yeah, simple. We've got a change to Pork 3 Jackdaws. After 3 turns, kill the strongest non-gold unit twice in a row. If he somehow kills himself first, he will not scorch any other unit, which, I mean, logically it makes sense. He killed himself before he had a chance to kill anything else, so why would anything else die? Again, this is very specific because his ability affects only non-gold cards, so you would first have to turn him silver, and then it's the only situation where this would actually matter. But yeah, again, makes sense that they changed it anyway. Morkvark is being resurrected now after he's being discarded, so previously apparently it didn't work that way, but now it will, so another possibility for our discard deck, but he's a bit pricey, so I don't think it will happen really soon unless I open him in a keg, but yeah, we'll see. We've got some changes to our favorite Hawker support. First of all, he won't get buffed when he is being destroyed by Scorch or Epidemic. I'm not sure if that's something that really mattered, because it's not like he stayed on the board anyway, and when he returned to the graveyard he had the strength reduced to 2 anyway, so yeah. Not sure if that changes anything really. other than you won't get the strange effect of card being buffed while it's being transferred to the graveyard. So again, more like a bug fix than actual balance change. What is interesting is that his ability apparently will now work correctly with cards such as Lacerate. And it's not specified what it means correctly, so I assume from now on the Hawker support will actually die when he's on 3 strength or less and you play Lacerate, or when he's at 6 strength or less and you play Azur's Thunder. That's what I assume this means, but yeah, I don't know what else could it mean, really. So that's actually quite a significant nerf to Hawker support, because you actually have to buff him only once to get away from most of removal. Because I'm not sure if there is anything other than Scourge or Epidemic that can kill a card having more than 6 strength. I don't think so. So yeah, now you will have to buff him at least twice, and then he will be safe, but it can be a bit harder to pull off. Yeah, we'll see, but I assume that's what they mean by working correctly. We've got a change to Roach, and again, it seems like it's a bug fix more than an ability change, because according to patch notes, Roach will now get played when a card is converted to gold. Again, I don't have Roach, I wasn't aware that this was a problem, that cards don't get, that Roach isn't played correctly when you convert your card from silver to gold or from bronze to gold. But yeah, when the patch is released, it will work as it should. We've got something more here. Geralt Igni, again, change to ability, which seems like a bug fix more than a actual balance change. His ability won't affect unrevealed cards, so ambushed cards, which makes sense. They are unrevealed, so how would anyone know what strength they have? Another change, immune to weather cards will have a separate icon that will be displayed on the card. And 2 more bug fixes. To reveal will correctly reveal at the end of the game if opponents passes and it ends the game. Currently it didn't work that way from what I know, and yeah, a bug fix. And another change to Priscilla, she will no longer block the game if the card you draw requires targets on the board and there are no targets, so yeah. And another change that's more like a bug fix. There are some more actual fixes listed, but we won't get into those. And apparently there will be some UI changes, some changes in tooltips, some new sound effects for cards, few UI improvements, and yeah, that's all. So we'll yet have to see when the patch is actually released, but it's supposed to be really soon, so I'm hoping this week, possibly Friday after the English demo stream from CD Projekt airs. We'll see. I'm really excited for the changes. We will definitely experiment some more with newly crafted leaders when the price drops for them. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this analysis. If you did, please let me know. If you didn't, please let me know as well. And hopefully we'll see each other next time with an actual deck. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it, if you found it informative at least to some extent. Please consider sharing it with your friends. My name has been Xylem. Thanks very much again, and we'll see each other next time. Bye bye.